Hey guys, I've been watching numerous videos lately that talk about intensive listening, and many of them talk about the benefits of it and the scores they've gotten after intensive listening training. But is it really that effective and suitable for everyone? I don't think it's for most people. We really have to start with the purpose of listening intensively. Only when we have thought through the reasons for doing something that we can see the benefits it brings. Listening intensively means listening to a text or a passage on a loop and spelling out every word you heard correctly. So the immediate impact it brings is obvious, in that it makes us remember the pronunciation and the spelling habits of a word. Some of the niubility people I know, they listen intensively for about 2 hours a day for 6 months or a year. And he has a requirement for our character to be patient. You might not be aware that your basic English level determines the upper and lower limit of the improvement you make in intensive listening. It's absolutely a fantastic thing to be able to understand a lot of words. Of course, but when I ask this question, I'm sure you will think about it and reflect on yourselves. Because when we do the tests, different questions will give different directions and different logic. In other words, question awareness. So we also have to think about whether what we hear is within the scope of what the question is asking, and whether there is a certain amount of synonymy within the options. Practice only intensive listening, on the other hand, can make us tend to focus on individual words and ignore the overall logic and image that is formed by stringing words together. Many of the errors in the questions are in making sense of the logic, rather than in understanding each single word. So the importance of intensive listening is to master the core words, not to use intensive listening to get the questions right. We should spend more time in listening, writing, training, listening out for the heavy and weak emphasis of a sentence. Hear out the rhythmic rereading and upward movement of the words during the period of a pause of 1 second after the logic point of a sentence, and then understand the logic of all the key words heard, and know what picture the sentences is describing. I think one person summed it up well when he said that the most Chinese students in English-speaking classrooms take flashback, this listening approach. So for intensive listening materials, many people suggest the BBC or TED Talk, I think which are too difficult for the public, and I don't think that they're necessarily very suitable. Some people want to take the IELTS exam and some want to take the SAT exam. So I would recommend that the main material for intensive listening should be focused on the material source you are going to take. So how do we make intensive listening correctly? Firstly, I think you should take the attitude that intensive listening only addresses the basic spelling needs of your vocabulary. Secondly, you only need to listen closely to the sentences where the answers are located, because the focus of a text is often on the image of the question. When you check your answers, find out whether the reason for your mistakes is that you don't know them at all, or that you are not familiar with the phonetic symbols. Don't forget not to be a listening robot, and to pay attention to grammatical correctness while listening closely. Then spend more time on listening writing. Look at the words in the question's points, see if they are heavy and slow, and accumulate them.